Welcome back, everybody. This is another edition of Beyond Reason Radio here on News Radio 102.5 WFLA FM and still on AM 540. Right now, I probably shouldn't say this. This is like a big no-no in this business. But right now, at least on the TV in the studio, Bill O'Reilly is on, and he's obviously starting out with defending his reporting on the Falklands War. As many of you know, Mother Jones came out and said he exaggerated those claims. They're trying to make him like Brian Williams.
Mother Jones. Now there's a fair, impartial magazine.
Yeah. They're totally fair. They would never be biased against Bill O'Reilly. I mean, yeah, no, we have to take them. CNN's taking them as gospel, so I guess we have to as well.
Geez.
But I'm just watching Bill O'Reilly defend his comments. This is not the fight Mother Jones wanted to make, I think. They were trying to make Bill O'Reilly like Brian Williams, and Bill O'Reilly right now is shredding them to pieces.
Yeah.
He is going point by point.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going point by point. He's talking about why they're liars, why he was right, why he never lied, why he did have those struggles because he covered the Falklands War in Argentina, and he's talking right now about why there were struggles where he was at, point by point. The reason I'm telling you this is because now you don't have to watch it. Now you can just listen to me. I've just given you the points. Bill O'Reilly will be on YouTube later and stuff. But Bill O'Reilly is just proving himself right. It's just funny because, you know, the left, Brian Williams is attacking the left. It's like, oh, we have to get one of them. We have to get one of the right and to prove that they're a bunch of liars. And this ain't working out too well. Bill O'Reilly is not taking it sitting down. So I don't think it's going to go well for Mother Jones. Is not quite what they expected. So should be very interesting how that turns out. Welcome to the show, anybody. If you have any comments on anything I say, the phone number is 407-674-1025. I am joined here by Tom Benson, of course, who you heard just a second ago. How you doing tonight, Tom?
I'm doing fine. It's a Friday. The only problem with Fridays,
yes, I don't know any problem, so go ahead.
it leads into a weekend, and with so much going on, the weekend is going to zoom by. I mean, the races are going on over in Daytona. The Academy Awards are Sunday night. Oh, man.
Do you watch those? Do you watch the Academy Awards?
No.
I usually don't either.
No.
I'm always interested in who wins and who's going to be in it, but I'm never like big on actually watching it.
Yeah.
I am so tired of watching shows that are just all praising celebrities. Like shows that are celebrities praising other celebrities. It's just like, I don't know. It just gets old to me.
We like us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know my parents are one. They love the show Dancing with the Stars. That show is just another show praising celebrities for something they don't even usually do. And I can only take so much of that.
Well, I think the demographics on the Dancing with the Stars is a lot older than the people who will be watching the Academy Awards.
Maybe. Yeah, that's true. Who do you think's going to win?
I don't know because I haven't seen any of the movies. I know what I'd like to see win. That would be American Sniper.
Oh, you haven't seen American Sniper? You have to go see it.
I'm the one guy.
You are the one guy. You got to go see that this weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
Serious. That's your assignment.
All right.
No, it's really good movie and did really well on that movie. The whole movie is just good. All right, enough with the light Academy Awards, and our audience really doesn't even care, I think. The big story of today, obviously, is Rudy Giuliani coming out. He's getting a lot of attention for this, which, I mean, other conservatives have said this already, but I guess because who Rudy Giuliani is, he was a former mayor, he ran for president, it's a bigger deal. But he came out basically and said President Obama, doesn't love America. Doesn't love America. And it's funny because I just read an article of him defending himself because now they're accusing him of being racist. That Giuliani is thinking this because he's racist. It's always the easy one. And Giuliani says, well, I'm not racist. Obama's mother is white. What a comeback. I just have to laugh at that. But yeah, he's not backing down. And well, before I get into my take and my comments on this, let's hear a little bit of what Giuliani said about this. This first cut's from Fox and Friends, I believe, yesterday, where he expanded on this point.
I very rarely hear him say the things that I used to hear Ronald Reagan say, the things I used to hear Bill Clinton say about how much he loves America. I do hear him criticize America much more often than other American presidents.
There you go. And that's true. I hear Obama criticize America all the time. And then he made this comment last night on the Kelly file.
The reality is, from all that I can see of this president, all that I've heard of him, he apologizes for America. He criticizes America. He talks about the Crusades and how the Christians were barbarians, leaves out the second half of the sentence, that the Muslims were barbarians also. He sees Christians slaughtered and doesn't stand up and hold a press conference, although he holds a press conference for the situation in Ferguson. He sees Jews being killed for anti-Semitic reasons, doesn't stand up and hold a press conference. This is an American president I've never seen before.
But to say that he...
Yeah, really, American president that I've never seen before, but I'm young, but it's pretty amazing. He really makes a lot of great points. And the main reason I wanted to bring this up, because I think it's an interesting debate to have. And, you know, all the conservative talk show hosts out there are basically agreeing, and you've heard all the comments. But my main question, actually, that came to my mind is, before we can have this debate, we have to decide, what is America? What is America? What is America supposed to be? What does it stand for? What are we saying when we say Obama hates America? 407-674-1025 if you want to comment on any of this. What is America? When Obama bashes America, when we say Obama hates America, I don't think Obama hates like all the people in America. I think he hates a lot of people in this country. But I don't think, when we're talking about the people in general, I don't think Obama just hates the people. So, I don't know. Or what else could we be talking about? I don't think Obama hates the land, like the physical land. He probably thinks, you know, the mountains and the Appalachians are beautiful. The Great Lakes are nice. The Everglades. He probably likes all of that. You know, he's a normal guy. Probably likes going up north to see the leaves change and going to the south to the beaches. He loves Hawaii. Loves going to the beaches and the golf courses there. So I could see that Obama likes the land, and he probably likes some other things about the country. But where Obama really doesn't like, when we talk about America, is he does not like its foundations. He doesn't like what the foundations of this country are. He doesn't like the founders themselves. He doesn't like the system that the founders came up with, the Constitution. You know, we say he likes the Declaration of Independence, but every time he quotes it, he always skips the part where it says, from our Creator. You know, we all have certain unalienable rights from our Creator, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He always skips the part from our Creator. We know he doesn't like a lot of the early history because there's slavery, and obviously there was slavery in the South. We forget that many of the founders, including like James Madison and John Adams, were against slavery. We forget that through most of this country's history, in the North, slavery did not occur in the North. It was only in the South. But we forget that part. But we're talking about its system of government, the idea of the Constitution limiting the power of the federal government, the idea of individual liberty, the foundations of our country. That is what Obama doesn't like. That is why he said he would fundamentally transform America. That's what we mean when we say Obama doesn't love this country. He often criticizes the Constitution. In fact, he really doesn't follow it. He kind of sees it as a nuisance, as in his way. You know, he'll say nice things about it, but then, you know, he would rather do things by executive order. You know, I have a pen and I have a phone and I'm going to do it that way. Yeah, no. Obama doesn't like that. the foundations, the principles that this country was founded on. Christianity being the major force of good in the world, being the major force of religion in this world. I don't think he likes that. I don't think he's a Muslim. I think he's mostly a secular president, which means he's worldly. He's the postmodern president. And I have a cut here from Obama. This was from an interview in 2001, long before he was president. And this describes exactly what I mean. That when Obama doesn't like how the system of government in this country, doesn't like how the Constitution is formatted. He's talking about the Warren Court here, but he gets into what the Warren Court didn't do, how the Warren Court didn't get to break through a lot of the constitutional limits. Constitutional limited government is what we are, and he wants to transform that. That's why he said, that's why he doesn't love this country. Listen to Obama here from 2001.
If you look at the victories and failures of the civil rights movement and its litigation strategy in the court, I think where it succeeded was to vest formal rights in previously dispossessed peoples, so that I would now have the right to vote. I would now be able to sit at a lunch counter and order, and as long as I could pay for it, I'd be okay. But the Supreme Court never ventured into the issues of redistribution of wealth and sort of more basic issues of political and economic justice in the society. To that extent, as radical as I think people tried to characterize the Warren Court, it wasn't that radical. It didn't break free from the essential constraints that were placed by the Founding Fathers in the Constitution.
There you go. It wasn't radical enough. It didn't venture into things of redistribution of wealth, social justice, the restraints on the Constitution. Those are negative things to Obama. He doesn't like those things. And it's interesting he talks about redistribution of wealth. That is the other part of America that he doesn't love. He doesn't love the fundamental capitalist principles of America, the economic system of America, which made America prosper. To him, those are destructive things because we're taking the resources from the rest of the world, quote unquote. Because it's greed and there's inequality. Because it's not the government doing it, it's free people doing it. And it supposedly hurts other countries and it makes us too powerful. That is the point that I think Giuliani's trying to make. Because those are the things that made America great. Those are the things that former presidents praise about America. He also doesn't like the military. The military is too strong, too powerful, too big. Most presidents praise the military. He wants to cut it, slash it, get rid of it. So that's the debate then. What is America? What should it be? There's what it is and its history, what the majority of people think it should be, and what Obama wants it to be. And Obama doesn't like the history of it. He wants to transform it, like he said. 407-674-1025. So that's what Obama thinks. But what's the future? What's the future of America? I have a poll here where people weighed in on who they think represents the future. Who in politics represents the future? Let's just say it's not someone who represents the future.
It's not from Mother Jones magazine, is it?
No.
This poll?
Well, I think it was from CNN, so that's close enough.
Yeah.
All right. You are listening to Beyond Reason Radio with your host, Michael Yaffee, on News Radio 102.5 WFLA.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Well, there's the future. According to a CNN poll, out of 7 potential candidates for 2016, 50% of people polled said Hillary Clinton. That, the what difference does it make person, represents the future. Aren't you all excited of the future of America? That's the future? Of course, I don't know how she represents the future with their socialist big government policies of the past. But, so, yep, just thought I'm going to get more into that in a second. You are listening to Beyond Reason Radio. By the way, you can catch all my old shows at beyondreasonradio.blogspot.com. And big news, by next Friday, my new website, podcast website, will be up. BeyondReasonRadio.com will be up by next Friday, and you'll be able to get my podcast on there, also on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. It's going to be everywhere. So that I'll announce that when it comes out, and I'll probably announce it on my Twitter first, at Michael Yaffee. Follow me at Michael Yaffee, and you can find the announcement there when I get the new podcast. It's going to be available everywhere. Beyond Reason will be everywhere. And Beyond Reason is a show. I'm Michael Yaffee. I produce Buttheadinger Live mornings on this station from 6 to 9 a.m. I'm usually the producer of that. And this show, I get to give my take where we talk faith, culture, politics, and I basically try to be the voice of reason with everything out there that is beyond reason. So before we were talking about what is America and what is it that Obama doesn't like about America? Because we say Obama doesn't love America, and there's obviously a lot of evidence, I think, that he and his wife don't love America, and a lot of other people in the Democrat Party. And what we mean is they don't love the foundations of this country, the system of government, the way it's structured, the economic system, the way it's structured. And I'm going to take Dusty and Apopka. My good friend Dusty, how are you tonight?
Great, Mike. Thanks for taking my call. I love the preview that you put out. It gave me a chance to think about what you were going to talk about, and this is exactly what I want to talk about.
All right,
America.
Yeah.
What it means to me and what I think it should mean to everybody out there.
What does it mean to you?
What it means to me is a government for the people, by the people, not a government for itself.
That's
not
a great
government
point.
For the politicians.
That's an excellent point. You know, it goes back to Abraham Lincoln, obviously, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. There was a president who loved America. It was very obvious in every speech he made that he loved America. He loved its foundations. He loved the founders. He loved the people. And
exactly.
He loved what it stood for. And he said that in his speech, government of the people, by the people, for the people. And you make a great point. It's more, nowadays, it's more like the government for the government. Of the government,
exactly.
By the government.
And for the rich, for these big leftists who want to just take, and not give back to the people. Let's build this new stadium over here and spend all this money. Where are we going to get the money? Well, we'll just get it from taxes. Or we'll get it from, we'll make some more money and just print some more and go over here. Well, that's not hurting the people. That's not hurting them. That's hurting us. That's hurting our kids.
Exactly. Thank Dusty.
That is not America.
You're right. That is not America as it was founded. Dusty, you're awesome. Thank you for your phone call, as always. I also want to get your take, 407-674-1025. Who do you think represents the future in politics? Who represents the future? Do you agree with that poll that it's Hillary Clinton? That she represents the future? It's interesting. This was a CNN poll. It said 50% of those polled said Hillary Clinton represent the future. By contrast, Joe Biden and Jeb Bush were each seen as representing the past. Very interesting that Jeb Bush is seen as representing the past. Probably because he has the last name Bush. And Biden because he's vice president now. This one I actually kind of surprised me. Half said New Jersey Governor Chris Christie represents the past. Didn't quite understand that. While 43% said he represents the future. So more think Governor Chris Christie represents the past. Senator Rand Paul got 49% thought he represented the past. 41% said the future. If anything, I think Rand Paul represents the future. Because the country, I think in the future, the country's going to shift more libertarian. I really believe that that's what's going to happen.
Who was surveyed in this thing? They say?
This is a good question.
CNN watchers or
just anchors. CNN anchors.
Yeah, Democrats. Democrats were polled.
That might be a possibility. It actually does not say. It just says it was a CNN poll.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. They 46% said Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, that name's been thrown out there a lot lately, represents the future, and 37% says she represents the past. What is happening?
I think a lot of her populist ideas represent the future, but I don't think she herself necessarily represents the future.
But it's funny because in a way, conservatives do represent the past because we want to go back to the foundation, the founding principles of this country. But honestly, in the past 100 years, it's been more progressive, big government policies that have represented this country and have grown in this country. And it seems like every year we get more and more government, bigger and bigger government. And Hillary Clinton, she always harks back to the progressive era. She represents that more than anybody. And that's what's been going on for the past 6-7 years with Obama. More bigger government, more progressive policies. Why does Hillary Clinton represent the future? Does that mean that's the future? More of the same? You know, Obama said he was all about change. No, changing more towards the left, but we were already headed in that direction. I would hope that Rand Paul or somebody like him, a conservative, more libertarian maybe, would represent the future so we could turn this around. But honestly, if we don't turn it around, it's going to all collapse and we'll have no choice but to turn it around, or it's going to collapse into something much worse. Interesting, though, that Jeb Bush did not do well. I'm going to make a prediction right now that if Jeb Bush wins the primary, he will lose the general election. I really believe that. A lot of people like him, and he was an okay governor, but that Bush name, and he also, he is still a big government Republican. Is that the future of this country? Jeb Bush does not equal a win for the Republican Party. You know, people often evoke the William F. Buckley rule. Vote for the most conservative candidate that is electable. So immediately, all the Republicans in the Republican Party, they run to moderates like Romney and Jeb Bush. But they forget one part about what Buckley's saying. It also means don't vote for the least moderate that turns off the base. Because that's what happened with Romney. He was too moderate that he turned off the base. So you got to vote the most conservative that's electable, which also means don't vote that means vote the least moderate that turns off the base. And that's what Jeb Bush would do. He would totally turn off the base. His stances on Common Core. It pretty much is Obama Core, actually. Common Core and illegal immigration, it's going to turn off the base. He can't win. He is not the future. Just like Hillary Clinton is not the future. Please tell me she's not the future. Coming up next on Beyond Reason, I have to talk about ISIS because there's another poll that's very interesting that shows whether or not Americans would support sending ground troops in to fight ISIS. And there seems to be a change in what people believe in that. And, well, we have to talk about that. 407-674-1025. You are listening to Beyond Reason here on News Radio 102.5 WFLA. Well, welcome back, everybody. You are listening to Beyond Reason on News Radio 102.5 WFLA and still, of course, on AM 540. Make sure, by the way, to follow the station on Facebook at WFLA Orlando and Twitter at News Radio 102.5. Always great stuff I post on there. They're posted on there all day. So there's no reason not to follow. If you want to stay up to date on what's going on with the station and the news, that's the best place to do it. Facebook, search WFLA Orlando. Twitter, at News Radio 102.5. Also follow me at Michael Yaffee. A great way to stay connected. And another way to stay connected with me, go to my blog page if you want to see all my old shows. beyondreasonradio.blogspot.com. Next week, I'm going to start my new website, beyondreasonradio.com, with a bunch of cool stuff. So that'll be good stuff. So I'm talking to producer Tom Benson in the break, and he asked me a very interesting question.
I'm not sure who scares me the most, Elizabeth Warren or Hillary.
Well, they're both pretty scary.
Yes, they are. But whenever I see Elizabeth do her act, I say to myself, man, I'm glad I'm not married to that woman.
I
now
about both of them.
Her ideas she may be on on certain ideas. Her populist ideas are going to appeal to a lot of people. But man,
well, here is why Elizabeth Warren scares me the most. I think she is more electable than Obama. I mean, not Obama, Hillary. I think she's more electable than Hillary. She is sort of the Obama of the 2008, or the Obama of 2006 is what she will be, 2016. Be nice if I could get dates right today. Obama of 2016 could be Elizabeth Warren. She is sort of the unknown person, but that has a lot of appeal. She's new because she's a woman, and she's that person that could kind of come out of nowhere and defeat Hillary like Obama did to Hillary in 2008. That's what worries me about her.
They supposedly had lunch this week together.
Of course. You want to know why? Because Hillary's afraid of her.
Ah.
That's why they did it. Hillary wants her out of the way. I fear somebody, either Elizabeth Warren or somebody, doing what Obama did in 2008, sort of coming out of nowhere and just getting all this great appeal. There's a great, I mean, if Hillary wins the primary, it's a perfect opportunity for Republicans to beat her because she is beatable. She proved that before. She's beatable. But Elizabeth Warren scares me, not only because she's just as radical, if not more radical than Obama, but because she's electable like Obama was. So there was a new poll out, CBS News poll, that I found fascinating. For the first time, a majority of Americans, 57%, favor sending U.S. ground troops into Iraq and Syria to fight ISIS, according to a CBS News poll. That stuns me because there has been such a movement in this country to, we finally got out of Iraq. We were getting out of Afghanistan. We were ending the wars. It's one reason why Obama got elected, because he said he wanted to do that. And, of course, when we did that, everything Bush said would happen did. The terrorists, which are ISIS, went into Iraq. They're making that their main base, also Syria, also other places. So we might have to go back in and fight them. And I'm just shocked the majority of Americans want that. I mean, they're seeing what's happening. This is a vicious, vicious enemy.
The burnings were the game changer.
Yeah, that was really the game changer for the rest of the world, too, because now they're killing other Muslims. That's what's really going to hurt ISIS in the end, is they're killing other Muslims. Eventually, the Muslim world is not going to put up with this. But, yeah, the burnings, the beheadings, they beheaded 21 Christians. I mean, that's crazy. That's Nazi stuff. That's psycho stuff. Here's what my take on this, and call me, 407-674-1025, 855-545-1025. Do you think that we should send ground troops to fight ISIS? Here's my problem with this. It's actually a complicating question and answer, because I think we're probably going to have to. If we really want to defeat them, we're probably going to have to send ground troops and crush them. Here's my problem with doing that now. The president is Barack Obama. We're not willing, under this president, under our leadership in Washington, to send the troops in and really fight the enemy. Really crush the enemy. We're not willing to do that. And if we're not willing to do that, if our troops go over there and they're too afraid to do anything because they could be arrested, then I don't support sending ground troops in. That's the problem. If we're going to support our military, let them do their job, crush the enemy and get out of there, I could support it. But that's, unfortunately, there's no evidence that that's what would happen. And I found some interesting comments from another guy who's probably running for president, Ben Carson. And I never expected him actually to say strong comments like this, but he makes very excellent points on this, of all people, Ben Carson. I think this is from Fox News. He was being interviewed about the threat to ISIS. And they said, how do you think we should defeat ISIS? And this is what Ben Carson had to say. Play cut one for me.
They're still in their adolescent stage. And this is the time when we can crush them. But if we allow them to mature into a full-grown tree with deep roots and thick branches, it's going to be almost impossible. We need to do it now. Winston Churchill said, fight your enemy while you can beat them. Because if you delay the fight, you will eventually be fighting them for your life.
Pretty bold statements. He supports fighting them all out now because he's trying to be like Winston Churchill was before World War II. You know, the Nazis used to be adolescents when they started, and Winston Churchill says we need to fight them now because they're going to grow and be powerful. Ben Carson is basically saying the same things about ISIS, that we need to fight them now before they get too powerful. And Bud asked me on the show this morning, you know, what do I think about sending troops to fight ISIS? And I said, you know, basically what I told you just now, I would support it if we were willing to fight them. And he said, why? And I said, because they're a threat. Whether we like it or not, they're a threat. And if they take over the whole Middle East and they create a big caliphate in that part of the world with all that oil money, they're a huge threat to us. There's already some sources that say ISIS militants are here in this country. They're a threat. They're a threat to Europe, and if they spread through Europe, I mean, we're talking World War III. And that's what Ben Carson is saying. We need to crush them now while they're in their adolescent stage. They're pretty powerful and sophisticated, but they're still in their adolescent stage in comparison of what they could be and what they're growing to be. But Ben Carson made another point that I was making earlier about how we need to fight them, what we need to do to fight them. Can you go ahead and play cut two really quick?
Our military needs to know that they're not going to be prosecuted when they come back because somebody has said you did something that was politically incorrect. There is no such thing as a politically correct war. We need to grow up. We need to mature. If you're going to have rules for war, you should just have a rule that says no war. Other than that, you know, we have to win.
Brilliant comments, I think. He said it perfectly. We can't have our military being afraid of doing something politically incorrect. Because war is not politically correct, ever. You know, in the American Sniper movie, there's a part in that where there's so many parts where he's hesitant to really take action because, he could get tried and prosecuted here in the U.S. when he comes back, and that's what's happening. And we have to think, you know, we don't want our troops doing really evil things. But we can't get to the point where our troops are afraid to really fight the enemy. They can't be afraid of being prosecuted for anything, especially with an enemy like this. Because you're dealing with an enemy that hides in civilian areas. You're dealing with an enemy that uses children and women as weapons. You're dealing with a different kind of enemy. And we have to crush them. And yes, it would be ugly. But war is ugly. It would be terrible. There's a lot of things we would have to do that we don't necessarily like to do or want to do, but they have to be done. This is war. And that's basically what Ben Carson is saying. It's a brilliant point. We have to stop with this political correct war. There's no such thing. And if we keep going down that road, we're never going to win a real war again. It's just not going to happen. So I think Ben Carson made some interesting points. Maybe Ben Carson is the future. I would much rather him be the future than what difference does it make? Ugh. It's just like nails on a chalkboard, really. You're listening to Beyond Reason Radio. When I get back, I'm going to do a little politics-free segment talking about something dealing with Florida that I don't really even understand why it's an issue, but apparently it's a big issue. So we're going to talk about that next here on News Radio 102.5 WFLA. You're listening to Beyond Reason Radio. You are listening to the voice of the millennial generation, the voice of, well, the Yaffee generation, with your host, me, Michael Yaffee, here on News Radio 102.5 WFLA Beyond, Reason Radio. Remember to follow the voice of the millennial generation, the voice of the Yaffee generation, at Michael Yaffee. Follow me on Twitter at Michael Yaffee. Don't laugh at me in there.
I'm not laughing at you. It's just that this is how America has progressed. We've gone from the Pepsi generation to the Yaffee generation.
Exactly. That is the future. What sounds much better, the Pepsi generation. Of course, half the audience thinks it's Yappy, not Yaffee, so it's the Yappy generation. No, Yaffee. It's my last name. It's Yaffee. Y-A-F-F-E, just so you all know.
It's not a nickname. It's the real thing.
Yeah, it's the real thing. If I was in Israel, apparently it's popular in Israel. People would get it right, but here nobody knows what it is. So, by the way, it is a Hebrew name, but I'm not Jewish. I'm a Christian. I don't know if I made that obvious, but anyways, that's way off topic. So I found this article in Sunshine State News, and it kind of fascinated me because I didn't really quite understand why it's an issue in Florida, but apparently it's a big issue. I don't really get it, but maybe some of you will get it. Basically a wide-ranging alcohol measure that would allow shoppers to pick up, things like Jack Daniels in the same stores where they buy their groceries passed the first house test Wednesday over the objection of Florida's largest grocer. Apparently there's laws in Florida where a lot of the liquor you have to buy has to be in a separate store than the regular grocery store. That's why a lot of your stores will have a liquor store next to it. Like Publix does that. I think Albertsons does that. And there's a lot of extra liquor stores. And apparently Walmart really doesn't like this because Walmart doesn't have those extra liquor stores. They want to be able to sell it in their store. So they're all in support of this, while Publix, who already has the liquor stores there, works well for them. And you have a lot of independent liquor stores, they don't want it to be in the grocery store. And I'm thinking to myself, is there really a law for this? Why can't a store sell what it wants to sell on its property? It's its business. Why does it have to be separate? Am I missing something here? I mean, other than the business interests, yeah, of course, these businesses are in a fight because it's about their own business interests. But I'm talking about generally in an economic sense or a freedom sense. Is this law really necessary? I don't really understand it. And I know other states are even stricter about it. Like, I think Virginia's really strict about how they do some of their stuff. But, I mean, Tom, when you go into like Walmart or something, you're going to buy groceries. I don't know where you buy groceries, but you're going in to buy groceries. Mm-hmm. Would you be somehow offended if there was a liquor section where you could buy liquor in the grocery store?
Beer, no. Hard liquor, yes.
You would be offended by that?
I wouldn't be offended. I would just think it would be not appropriate.
Really?
Yeah.
That is very interesting to me because I'm reading this and I'm like, does anyone other than the businesses really care? And apparently you do. So I'm very interested because I don't really see the big deal.
Yeah.
I don't think I would care. I mean, I didn't really even notice it that much to begin with. I would think a business should be able to sell what it wants. It's America. But why does that not seem appropriate?
Because I don't drink, period, and I just, don't want to,
Yeah, I don't really drink.
Be exposed to it, I guess.
By the way, I don't drink either.
Is
there anyone else out there who might think this is offensive or inappropriate? 407-674-1025. I mean, I guess maybe there was some people out there who were thinking they didn't want their children in there, and maybe they didn't want their children to be exposed to it. I don't know. I was just looking at this, and I'm like, why can't we just let the free market do it? Like, if Publix sees it as inappropriate, let them decide to have it in a separate store. And then if Walmart doesn't see it as inappropriate, let them put it in their store. Let's let the free market work. I don't know why we're so against that in the States and in this country. I don't understand that. And we act like the businesses are never going to make good decisions for their customers. Why do we assume that? The business is going to want to make their customers happy. So they're going to do what it takes to make their customers happy. And a great example of this that I found out this week that really fascinated me is Nestle. Nestle candy. They're going to start, by the end of this year, they're going to make all their candy. This is their big popular, including their big popular candy like Crunch and Kit Kats and all that stuff. It's all going to be made of all natural ingredients. All of it's going to be all natural. And the government is not forcing them to do this. There's just a movement in this country, which I think is overrated, but it's a whole other story. I think the whole organic thing is completely overrated. I think we're scared about nothing. I mean, it doesn't hurt to be all natural. I'm not saying, I like to get produce at like Fresh Market because it just tastes better. But I just think I think we're too afraid of foods. If it was really that bad, I mean, I don't know. I'm just glad we have a lot of food. If those things help us have a lot higher abundance of food, I would rather be a country that has a high abundance of food and it has more people that are fat than be a country that's starving. So I'm not going to complain too much, but that's a side note. Because of what the free market's doing, because what customers are going to, Nestle's decided that they're going to make all their candy bars all natural, with all natural ingredients. And I think that's a good thing. It's going to attract a lot of new customers. They're saying they're doing it to where it doesn't change the taste at least too much, where it still will taste good. It will still taste like the regular candy, but it's going to be all natural because that's what our customers want. The free market's working. It's good for the customers. It's good for the company. And the government didn't have to get involved and make a stupid law because we're a free country. That's how freedom, economics, capitalism works. So we have this in Florida where it's the same thing. And I look at it and it doesn't seem like a big deal, but in a way it is because we're not allowing companies in this state to do what they want, to make their own decisions and let the people decide. Tom Benson in there might decide not to go shop at Walmart because he sees the liquor, and that's fine. They might rather go to Publix or something, and someone might like to just do it all in one place, so they'll go to Walmart instead of Publix. Why is it that every time something like this happens, the business immediately has to run to the government and say, oh, give us a favor? And this happens on the state level, it happens on the national level, and I don't quite understand it. I think it's unnecessary. I think all it does is hurt the economy. And eventually, they're afraid this is going to hurt small businesses. Eventually, they're afraid this is going to hurt small businesses. But when these big companies get in bed with the government, that hurts small businesses more. I think a free economy would help small businesses most. Wow, it's already over. Wow, it went by fast. Thank you guys for listening to Beyond Reason Radio. Remember, go to my blog page, beyondreasonradio.blogspot.com. Remember, next week, beyondreasonradio.com launches. You'll be able to get my podcast everywhere, iTunes, SoundCloud, all that stuff. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully, I'll have a chance to do this show next week. Catch you all on Monday on Bud Hedinger Live. Thanks for listening.
I look in the